Wednesday night, I put my hand into black water, and it came back covered in glittering, magical light. Bioluminescence. We were floating in the bay at La Parguera in Lajas, in what we lovingly called the Friends. A convening on a boat with a group of leaders in the American theater, dreaming up how we move in deeper connection with each other to show up in this crisis moment. This crisis moment that maybe isn't just a moment. The mountains stood black against the clouds and the stars, the shore a thin line on the water. I was overwhelmed with the knowing that I was inside a moment I would be grateful for the rest of my life. The captain told us that this water here was alive. 2 million tiny creatures in every gallon called dinoflagellates, too small to see, and each able to make its own light. We slipped into the water and began to move our bodies through, and the water lit up only where I touched it, not the whole bay, only the path my hand cut through in the dark. Only where I touched it. Every place I moved, the water answered in light. Every place I held still, it stayed black. We became mermaids, and our magic was visualized before us. The captain told us that these beings live in almost every ocean, off of Miami, in the Maldives, right here on this island. But almost everywhere, the light is rare and brief. The current scatters them, and the water goes dark. The perfect conditions for them to exist in this way only exist here. And the perfect conditions got me thinking, what are the perfect conditions for change? What could I learn about how this bay never goes dark? Captain Cheeky, with the really good legs, told me why my moving hand lit the water and my stillness did not. These creatures do not glow when they are calm. They glow from friction, from being moved, from being pressed, from being pushed against. The light is not what they do when they are safe. The light is what they make under pressure. The tide pushes through that bay every single night. Millions of them shoved by a force they did not choose, and they cannot stop. They do not fight the tide. They do not break apart in it. They move with it, together, all of them as one body of water, and that is why the light can hold. Not because water is calm, but because nothing in it moves alone. One more thing makes that bay possible. It is ringed by mangroves, and the mangroves feed the water by dying into it. The leaves fall and rot, and that decomposition becomes food. Nothing in that bay glows without something that came before it letting go. Which brings me to gratitude. Every person who has served on the TCG board, the TCG staff, the volunteers, the advisory circles, across decades, the ones of you sitting in this room, the ones who came before us, are the mangroves. They have fed us. The doors generations of us walked through, they held open first. What you built, those of you that are here, did not end when your term ended. It decomposed down into the soil, and it is still feeding the light. And oh my goodness, am I in a moment where I am seeking the light anywhere I can. There is no way I can speak to you today without me naming one specific board alumna who held my door open specifically. Diane Rodriguez. She stewarded, that's right, Diane Rodriguez. She stewarded this board for many years. She held doors open for so many, like it was a discipline, a practice, a purpose, because she knew transmission was the work. And let me be real. She didn't just hold the door open, she used her body. She absorbed terrible things about our systemic inequities with a grace I can't even fathom, so that we would not have to do so to the same degree. And she did it with fabulous red lipstick and a smile that absolutely lit up entire bodies of water. And in her leaving this realm, in her letting go, in her transition, she fed us. Her lessons, her way of being, her commitment to expanding all circles and collaborating fiercely. Every door I walk through, she is the mangrove. And I feel she left me and us an imperative. No more using our bodies to absorb. So I floated in that bay and I thought about us, all of us. We have built a field of organizations that each know how to glow alone. Each one of us, our own grants, our own board, our own audience, our own hustle. We flicker, brilliant for a while, until the tide shifts, until a season ends, until the political winds turn, and one more of us then goes dark. And we have called it a resource problem. We've called it everything but what I think it is. It is a self-perpetuating isolation problem. It's an infrastructure problem, and friends, it's an ego and imagination problem. And I know it from the inside. I've run rooms alone that I should have opened. I've been too tired or known that the work will have to go slower if we truly open for real, hard, generative conflict that comes from building deep trust. But what I know now, as an undeniable truth, is that isolation is a weapon and relationship is the resource. We are luminous people. But until we work together in ways that still feel impossible or that we've been told we're not ready for, until we put the how aside and focus on the what, we will never build the thing that holds the light. The infrastructure we build must let resources move like water toward whoever is going dark, instead of pooling where it is already bright.
Come on.
Because that makes us think we're healthy, right? When it's real bright. Too many of us are holding onto resource we should be letting flow out. Too many of us are letting fear for our individual organizational survival supersede moving together. What if that performance of protection is actually what keeps resource and opportunity stagnant? What if we instead agreed that none of us go under alone? That there might actually be more than enough for all of us. TCG says it leads for a just and thriving theater ecology. Well, an ecology is also a bay. It is the tide, it is the mangroves, and that 2 million creatures, and not one of them survives alone. I think of TCG as the shape of the land. It is a narrow mouth that has pulled us all back into the same water since 1961. It is the civic technology that turns a crowd of us into a glowing bay. And I want to say the scary thing. The bay can go dark too. The thing that holds the field is not invincible. It needs tending, the same as anything alive. The next generation and all of us not only need TCG to keep us moving together, TCG needs us. And I believe a new era of TCG is calling us all in to usher it together. So here's what I cannot stop thinking. In this year, in this moment where everyone keeps calling it maybe the worst yet, what if? In the words of Sonny Patterson, as often quoted to me by the inimitable, brilliant light in this field that is Lauren Turner Himes, good might be the opposite of right. What if these are not the good conditions we want, but they are the right conditions for fundamental, massive transformation? Change hurts, but it also liberates. The models don't need to be built from scratch. They exist everywhere around us. Ancient technology as innovation is here with us at this conference. I feel the stress and urgency of this moment in my body the same as you, but I can now remember the light was never made by calm water. What if this hard, narrow, frightening moment is the disturbance? The pressure that finally makes us reach for each other. The tide that if we move through together becomes the brightest thing we've ever made. So this is my charge. Every person in this room, you cannot stop the tide. None of us can. It is going to move you. The only question left is whether it scatters you or whether we move through it together. And I don't mean casually together. I mean in that deep, interdependent way that forces us closer than comfortable. When you fly home, when you go home, do not go back to glowing alone. Let's find the others in the dark. Let's move with them. Because the light is not what we do when it's easy. The light is what we do together under pressure. Thank you, TCG humans. Thank you, artists. Thank you, elders. Thank you, the next generation, the thinkers, the disruptors, the land.